Hey everybody, welcome into Faith in Football. My name is Neil, and once again, we have a very special guest in the house, my boy Thomas. Thomas, how you doing, my man?
Doing well, doing well.
Good, good. Hey, listen, Thomas and I have been playing fantasy for a few years, and this is probably my arch nemesis for our league. This is the guy who, when we're drafting, this is the one I don't want to be anywhere around because I'm positive he will snipe some players from me in a heartbeat. So, Thomas, tell people a little bit about yourself, how long you've been playing, favorite team.
And I started playing fantasy football probably 2017-ish, and I was horrible. I was so bad. My first, I got the first round or the first pick of the draft, and I picked Saquon Barkley. Maybe it wasn't 2017, but it was that year where I think game one or even in the preseason, he ended up being out for like the entire most, if not the whole season. And I was like, yeah, okay, I don't really like this, but with some with some work and some knowledge, got a lot better. And
So,
my favorite team is the Saints.
so, so. All right. Well, look, guys, for those of you who are just tuning in, first time to the show, welcome in. I appreciate y'all tuning in and watching us and catching up. Look, we are heavy into preseason now. I do want to preference this. This is faith and football. So before we get into the football side of things, we're going to dive into the faith thing. And I want you guys to remember that the whole reason this channel exists is this is a obedience to God's calling on my life to bring God back to football. I mean, God belongs in every aspect of our life. And if I can show just one person that the faith that they show in fantasy football, something small and minute and insignificant, then hopefully they will be able to exercise that faith muscle to put faith in God, to allow Him to be the Lord over the rest of their life, things with their marriage, their finances, their kids, their job, the big things that we usually wait until we hit disaster to go to God for. And today's episode, we're talking the top 10 players to avoid. Now, with that in mind, a lot of times in life, we want to try to avoid God until we need him. He's almost like a, break glass in case of emergency type thing. You know what I'm talking about, Thomas? Like,
100%.
you know, has there been a time in your life when like you came to God and you realized that, hey, I can't handle this. This is too big for me. I need some supernatural help.
100%.
So here's the thing is that God is everywhere and he's with us all the time. It's us that go away from him. I mean, we saw Peter after the arrest of Jesus Christ deny that he even knew him. So Peter, like many of us, we want to accept him in the times when it's easy to accept him and we want to deny him when it's uncomfortable. But here's the thing, and this is our scripture for the day. It's Psalms 139, verses 7 and 8. And it reminds us that God is in every single place that we can go. It says, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, you are there. Now, here's something that's very interesting to me about this verse is that this was generations before Jesus Christ came on this earth and died on the cross for our sins. But yet you have David who's writing the psalm talking about if I make my bed in hell, like that means that God is the God of heaven, hell, earth, the whole thing. Because remember, he's the one that created a place to send Lucifer and his angels who try to overthrow God in the first place. So I find it very interesting that there's no place, even hell itself, that we could go that God isn't able. to bring us out of to be with us in those times. So I mean, when we're going through those really, really hard times, or even when we're on the mountaintop in the heavens, it doesn't matter because God is always with us and he will always be there.
Very well said.
So I want you guys to remember that as you go through your week, as you go through your fantasy football career, if you will, there's going to be times when, like Thomas, you're going to make those picks and they're not going to work out. But just remember that we're going to make certain decisions in life that aren't going to work out either. But that doesn't mean that God's not with us and that God's not watching over us and that he can't turn things around. Now, a lot of people, and I'm glad that he brought up the Saquon Barkley injury because a lot of people ask me all the time. Every year I get a question, why do you draft your league of records so late? Now, Thomas, you've been with me for a while in our league of record, and you know that we draft the Tuesday before the Thursday game.
Yep.
Now, a lot of people thought that was weird, but here's the thing. I've been playing fantasy football so long. I remember the Mike Vick season when he was number one off the board. Now, you're talking about a quarterback, 101. That is unheard of at this point. Not even Lamar is being taken off the board at 101. Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, they're still falling into the second, third, fourth round before they're taken. So guys who were taking Mike Vick 101 before the, I think, third preseason game. This is back when they had 4 preseason games. The third preseason game breaks his leg. Careers change forever. Never comes back like he was to Atlanta. Has a short stint with Philly. And then all that dog mess happened. So I try my best and I try to be a good commissioner. I try to be a responsible one to where we draft so late so that all the injuries, which there's been a plethora of injuries. Have you been keeping up on this? Have you seen the injuries that have happened?
I haven't seen a lot of offensive players, but I have seen a lot of defensive
Dude,
injuries.
the
And
so
the O-line, Dickerson too.
Alexander Madison, who is the newly signed running back for the Miami Dolphins, out for the season ending neck surgery done. And he was looking good. All reports out of
Yeah.
camp where he was the backup to Devon Achane. So he was your handcuff. So, you know, there's that. There's a whole bunch of other injuries that are going on right now. What I encourage my viewers to do though is wait until about a week or so and then start paying attention to the injury reports that are coming out because this is preseason. If a guy gets a hangnail, he's being put on an injury report just so they don't have to play him. So there's a couple of key injuries that are going on. There's some guys who haven't performed. I heard Caleb Johnson, the rookie running back with Pittsburgh, has been underperforming, which basically just gives more merit to Jaylen Warren being a good draft pick. Um, and guys, my apologies to my regular viewership. You guys know when I go to this, it's time to plug my sponsors of the show. Um, Thomas is smiling because he and I used to work together there. So, but look, guys, Zia has been a sponsor of mine ever since I started this podcast. So shout out to them. They're at 235 Duce Road off of Johnson Street behind the Grand Theater in Lafayette, Louisiana. Right now they're under construction, so they look like they're closed and can't get in, but you just got to go around the side door, go see them, check them out. They're expanding their bar area, and it's going to be an absolutely fabulous place to watch a game. It's you might even see me there if you go on a Thursday night because that's probably going to be the only night I'm going to be there because I don't do Sundays. Obvious reasons, not just football, but I'm in church. So, but go there, mention that you heard about them from Faith in Football, get your free appetizer, your choice, whichever one you want. You can get the new Kung Pao cauliflower, you can get the hummus, you can get the ribs, you can get the shrimp, whatever you guys want. You get one per table from me for free on them for you. Okay, guys. So go down there and check them out. And if you're in the Lafayette area and you need some catering done, whether it be offsite at your own place Or if you want to come and like us, we're going to be in the back room with a big screen TV September 2nd for draft night. We're going to be doing our live draft from there. Ton of food. It's going to be awesome. And if you want that back room or an offsite catering, give them a call 337-406-0013. Talk to Andy or anybody who answers the phone. They'll be more than happy to help you with all your catering needs. And speaking of the draft, my sweetest sponsor is going to be there as well. That's Keller's Bakery at 627 Lafayette Street in Youngsville, Louisiana. If you go down there, you don't even have to buy anything. You just walk in, tell them, hey, I heard about you guys on Faith and Football. You get your 2 free cookies. And guys, even with the dentures, I will still chow down on some delicious chocolate chip cookies. Those things are off the chain. Thomas, you're going to test this because you've been at the draft when Dusty has brought the sweets from Keller's. Has there ever been a bad thing come out of Keller's?
Not a single one.
It is amazing, guys. Take our word for it. Go down there and check them out. Make sure you see Dusty Shores down at Keller's Bakery in Youngsville. Now, since this is going to be a top 10, I'm going to be taking the first round, and this is based on current ADP from Sleeper. If you guys aren't playing on Sleeper, I don't know what you're doing because this is the best website to play on. Not a sponsor, but if you hear this, I'm accepting. Okay, so come on. Give me a little something here, guys. But anyway, so I'm going to take the first round, and then Thomas is going to kick off with the second, and we're going to go back and forth. Now, my first round player to avoid. This solely has to do with a, a rise in his last year's touchdown scoring. He just went off for touchdowns, and he kept his ADP in the first round, but he did lose his OC, and that's Amon-Ra St. Brown with the Detroit Lions. He's got an Asian quarterback in Jared Goff. Their defense shouldn't be as bad, so they probably won't have to score as many points. They were like either top one or top two offense last year. So the reduction in scoring is there. Plus, their new OC has been talking of Jameson Williams all off season, talking about he's going to be an all-star, he's going to be an all-pro, he's going to have a breakout, even though he had a little bit of a breakout last season. So where does that leave Amon-Ra? I don't see the first round potential in Amon-Ra this year with that. Thomas, your take?
I mean, in my opinion, I think it's a little hard. Like, I definitely see where you're coming from. There's a lot of changes happening, but it's still Jared Goff. They clearly have a connection since he's been in the league. He's finished top 10 the last 3 seasons. And so I actually have him in my top 5 for wide receivers, but looks like I might have to do some revisiting.
Well, see, and that's what we're about, guys. We're about making you think. So now, full disclosure here, I gave Thomas my list. He did not give me his upon request. I requested not to see it. So the reaction that I'm going to be given here is going to be 100% natural. So Thomas, go ahead with your second round player to avoid.
In the second round, I have also picked a wide receiver, believe it or not. And I think that this fantasy season, the wide receiver or the player in general that I'll be avoiding in the second round is AJ Brown. He saw a significant dip in his production last year, only had 7 touchdowns, I think just over 1,000 yards receiving. And yeah, I don't know. You have Devonta Smith there, you have Barkley. It's a pretty similar situation as it was last year, and I just don't see as much volume going to him and being a second round player.
Well,
There's better choices in my opinion.
guys, like my previous episode that I had with my nephew Lawson, Lawson came out with a take on Baker Mayfield that if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It's on right now. So Uh, his take on Baker uh, shocked me. I'm not really shocked at the AJ Brown thing. I get it. Now, what I will say is that this year, if you look at their season, their strength of schedule this year, as opposed to last year when when they made the Super Bowl and won, they have a harder season schedule this year than they did last year, which would leads me to believe that Saquon, I don't see having as much production, so he could have been a first round player for me to avoid, but I mean, it's Saquon and it's the number one offensive line in the league. I'm not staring away from that. I'm not going to tell guys don't draft him because I mean, he's been going top five in a lot of the mock drafts I've been doing. If he gets past pick six, then scoop him up.
100% agree.
Now, when it comes to AJ Brown, I get it. I think that this year, if he slips to the third, by all means, scoop him up.
100%.
Okay. Second round, I'm cool with him in the second round as long as it's like a later second round. Maybe not the turn at the 1-2 turn, because you've got guys like Brian Thomas Jr. falling in there. You've got Nico Collins falling there. Some drafts I've even seen Malik Neighbors fall that far. So I know a lot of home leagues, they might not be that sold on Russell Wilson being in New York. Now, if I tell you right now, if it's Jameson Williams or James Winston, I am all about taking Malik Neighbors. I would take Malik Neighbors like right after Jamar Chase. Okay, I ain't even lying about that one. That one, that's a smash for me. Just because James is over there eating W's and stuff, and he don't even care. He will chuck it up. And we saw the 30 for 33 season where he threw 33 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Like, I'm down for that. But when it comes to AJ Brown, yeah, I feel you on better players at that. Now,
Well, and the other point I want to make too that I think is important to know for this year is that from the mock drafts that I've seen so far and the actual drafts that I've seen from, other people I know do already, it seems to be a very running back heavy couple of first rounds. And, based on most of the mock drafts I've been doing, Josh Jacobs is going after Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, and with so many running backs going so early in the draft this year, I think that even though it's full PPR, finding a running back that can really be a big part of your team in that spot over a player that could potentially have a similar season to last year, I think it's just an opportunity you can't pass up.
yeah, I think there's a lot of depth at wide receiver. I think in the later rounds, if you go ahead and lock in, if you want to go running back, hero RB, and you get that main guy you get in the top half of the first round, and you got Saquon or Bijan, sorry, Bijan, because he wants that's what he came out and said his name is
Really, I didn't hear that.
Bijan, yeah. But if you can do that and then go wide receiver, and then maybe get a dead zone running back somewhere around there. I mean, guys like Chase Brown are falling to the third. Kyron Williams has fallen to the third, stuff like that. So,
As well.
but all right. So third round for me, the layup here. I'm going to give you a layup, and then I'm going to give you a guy that you definitely should avoid. The layup here for me is Tyreek Hill. Okay, Tyreek Hill is a layup avoid at this point because he is so dependent upon Tua, and Tua's like one concussion from being in, a home somewhere. Okay, so I'm not even touching that. Now, I will tell you this: I do believe that Jalen Waddle, his co-wide receiver, his number two, does have a whole lot of potential to shoot up draft boards as we get close to the season. And if he doesn't, scoop him up late and don't pay that high price that you have to pay for Tyreek Hill. Now, the guy that I really don't want you to draft is Breece Hall. Breece Hall is going in the third round. There is no way I'm touching Brees Hall with Braylon Allen, he's 22 years old. Now, I know that Brees isn't an old man yet, but this isn't the regime in the coaching staff that drafted him. They've got no loyalty to him. And they're talking right now in preseason, they're running a three-man running back. It's running back by committee. It's RBC. And they got Isaiah Davis, Brees Hall, Braylon Allen. Those three guys, who's going to pop? You don't know. Who's going to be the third down back? You don't know. And is uh, is their quarterback even really going to be that good? I mean, come on. It's the Jets. So thoughts on Brees and Tyreek?
I actually have a tendency to agree with you on this one. Justin Fields had his moments last year, but again, you know, I would probably rather take my risk with Amari and Hampton in regards
Yeah,
to running backs going after him.
yeah.
So
I'm liking Hampton now. I tell you what, let me see. Going 24. Okay, so here's some guys going around Tyreek and Brees. You've got Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Kyron Williams, JSN, and Trey McBride. And Trey McBride. So I mean, those are just a few names that I will gladly in the third round take over that. If I can get Trey McBride in the third round, yeah, I'm smashing that because he's been going in the second for a lot of the ones that I've seen, late second, but still second round.
I agree.
All
I'm
right,
right there with
so
you.
number 4.
Number four, I had a bit of a tougher time with this one, believe it or not. But sorry to go to it again. I promise I have different positions too, but I'm going right back to wide receiver, playing with his new team, Devontae Adams. He's someone that, for me, he's just getting a little too old. And, he had his 85 receptions for 1,063 yards last year. And while they're not terrible, there has been signs of a decline in his fantasy production. And I'm just not certain. I'm not feeling it this year.
Okay, now see this is one I'm gonna agree and disagree with you. I'll disagree with the fact that Devontae Adams isn't going to be worth a round 4 draft. I'm all about. I will definitely take Devontae Adams in the fourth round comfortably, but it's going to be dependent upon Matthew Stafford's health right now. Now, I will agree, I'm agreeing just for the simple fact that just recently Matthew Stafford has been managed his back pain by the team, and he just got to where he can get out on the field and throw the ball. Now, older quarterback thrown to a veteran wide receiver, that's extremely viable for fantasy football. Where have we seen that before? Oh, that's right. Last year with his buddy Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Because if you remember, Garrett Wilson was on fire until Devontae Adams showed up and his BFF Aaron Rodgers just left Garrett Wilson to the point where Garrett Wilson wanted to trade. And not only did they not trade Garrett Wilson, they shipped out Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and paid Garrett Wilson. So, like Devontae Adams being viable, being paired with another veteran quarterback who can get him the ball. And look, don't fool yourself. Matthew Stafford is a dog, and this guy will fight through pain during the season like nobody's business. My only downfall on this one is the fact that he's paired up with Puka Nacua. So, is there enough there in LA to support both wide receivers? I think there is, just because we saw this from Matthew Stafford, even though it was like a couple of years ago with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Cool, I'm down. Devontae Adams is just a touchdown machine and a PPR magnet when it comes to fantasy football. So if Matthew Stafford is healthy, I'm smashing Devontae Adams in the fourth. If he's not, there ain't no way I'm touching him because who's his backup? Jimmy Garoppolo? Really? Come on, man.
There could be worse.
I
There
know they
still
could
could
have
be
Tyler
worse.
Shuck.
Exactly. But no, I see where you're
I had
coming
to take
from.
my shot. I had to take my shot.
I do see where you're coming from, but I think a player too who you forgot to mention as someone who could potentially be stealing targets from him too is past 2 years, Kyron Williams has had over 40 targets as well
Mhm. Like I said,
throughout the season.
I think that there's enough. I don't think the defense is that great in LA since the departure of Aaron Donald. Like it's just going down.
Downhill, yeah.
They're gonna have to score. They're just gonna have to. So I think
So,
Stafford can supply the need. And I mean, it's a fourth rounder, so I'm cool with having it. I mean, Puka has struggled with injury even in college. So if Puka goes down, who else they got?
fair enough.
So
What
okay,
if, what
so
if,
well, guys, it looks like we lost Thomas for a split second. Let me pause here and see if we can get him back. All right, guys, we're back. Thomas had some feline difficulty. Apparently, his cat didn't like that pig either. Um, so you know, take that for what it's worth. Um, so as we were saying, Devontae Adams was his fourth round. Stay away from. I will, like I said, I will disagree if Matthew Stafford is healthy. If he is injured, if he is dealing with a lot of back pain, then by all means bypass Devontae Adams. Now for round five, my layup in this one is none other than Joe Mixon of the Houston Texans. Look, I rode the Mixon roller coaster a couple of years ago. I actually traded him the game before he scored 42 points. Then for the rest of the season, he was worthless. I thank the good Lord that I got away from him before that 42-point performance because there was no way that I would have let him go if he had just scored me 42 points. So but that is my layup simply because he's dealing with injury already. He just left last year dealing with injury. He came back, was outstanding, then left again. So I'm not sold on that. Plus the fact that I think that there's going to be an increase in the passing game. And I know Joe Mixon can catch passes, but I'm not about trying to trust an older quarter or older running back to that. So my avoidance, same way as with Amon-Ra St. Brown, losing his OC and trying to go high flying is Sam Laporta. There are plenty of other tight ends that you can go get. You can go get David Njoku later in the rounds. You can go get Evan Ingram later in the rounds. You can take a shot on Tyler Warren with the Colts. You can take a shot on Colson Loveland with the Bears. So you take your shot on the guy that you think is going to be something because once you get past the first three in Bowers, McBride, and Kittle, it's a crapshoot for the rest of the tight ends. Which thing?
I think your Joe Mixon pick, I could not agree with more, not only because of what you said the second half or after that blow up game, he really didn't do anything and was honestly just a pain to try and fit into fantasy lineups for people that had him. But not only that, but the Texans offensive line is projected to be one of the worst for the 2025 season.
Yeah,
So
guys,
just
remember
another reason.
Laramie Tunsil ain't walking through that door. He's gone.
Yeah,
So
I'm pretty sure like a couple of different, fantasy sources, you know, I'm seeing here even Pro Football Focus, Sharp Football Analysis, Pro Football Network, all three of them placed the Texans O line ranked 32nd in the league. for the
And
upcoming season.
for those of you who aren't familiar, that's dead last because there's only 32 teams in the NFL. So, how about Sam Laporta? What's your take on him?
I actually think I still really love him. I think especially with you saying that Amon-Ra won't do well, unless DeAndre Swift is going to have the season of his life,
Well, no,
then
remember Swift is gone.
oh, that's right. He was with the Bears
Swift
now.
is with the Bears.
No, who am I talking about?
You're
Hold
thinking about
on.
David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs.
Gibbs. That's who I meant. Sorry. Unless Gibbs is going to have the season of his life, I think that there's still enough mouths to feed, and I think that Goff and Laporta have been, slowly building rapport over the past couple seasons, the past two, right? Or one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
two.
look, let's see. Trying to find where Joe Mixon would move. Yeah, see, in the same round that you get Joe Mixon, you can draft David Montgomery. You can draft Jameson Williams. You can draft George Pickens. And guys, you see the hat, you see the sign behind me. You know how much I hate talking positive about the Cowboys, but they got no run game. Who are they going to lean on? Jalen Blue, the rookie who right now is dealing with injury? A broke down Javonte Williams who's on his last leg almost literally? No. So I'll take them. There's the rookie Tedero McMillan going in the same round. So yeah, I'm cool. Even Travis Hunter is going. So yeah, I'll take those guys over Mixon, over Laporta any day of the week, and I'll go ahead and draft a different tight end later on and take the value in round 5.
Fair enough. You know, I think maybe the only one out of that list that I wouldn't consider over Laporta is maybe McMillan. I'm not super sold on him yet, but you make a fair point for the others.
All right, so number 6. Now, guys, real quick, I tell you what, Thomas, I'm gonna pause you here for just a second. We're gonna do a part 1 and part 2 since we're about halfway through, and I don't want to run out of time unexpectedly and cut out in the middle of a take. So, guys, make sure down below if you're a first timer or if you've been watching and just haven't subscribed yet, what's wrong with you? Down the bottom, subscribe, like, share, smash those buttons. All right, guys, and just remember. Next time, we're going to be here for part 2 coming up in just a second. So make sure you stay tuned and come back. Just like me and D Money, me and Thomas, we're coming back in just a minute. So, guys, remember, as always, football is good, but God is great. And we'll see you in just a second for part 2 of the top 10 players to avoid.